Brought to you by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis. This edition highlights key LinkedIn posts on commercial fleets in weeks 36 and 37. Frennis supports automotive enterprises and consultancies with market, customer, and competitive intelligence in the commercial fleet sector, with a strong focus on digital solutions and emerging technologies. Welcome to the Deep Dive. This time, we're digging into the commercial fleet space, looking at some really key posts on LinkedIn from calendar weeks 36 and 37.
That's right. We're aiming to cut through the noise, really, and give you the strategic shifts we're seeing.
Exactly. From, the economics of going electric to the software that's making it all tick. We want to focus on what's actually happening on the ground.
And what really stood out, I think, was this move towards, let's say, a more disciplined approach to electrification. It's data-led.
Data-led, okay.
Yeah. Not just buying EVs, but making sure they run efficiently, managing the energy side, building smart partnerships, basically reducing friction in how these fleets are deployed in the real world.
Okay, let's unpack that. First up, our theme on the economics of electrification. Charging, costs, and policy signals.
Yeah.
This is all about the money side, right? Charging, energy management, how that's shaping strategy.
Absolutely. And energy price volatility is huge here. Roby Moyana made a great point. Electricity isn't like diesel. It sounds simple, but it's fundamental.
How so?
Well, it's not just that prices change, it's how they change. Diesel might shift week to week, but electricity, prices can spike or even go negative multiple times a day.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So fleets can easily overspend if they charge at peak times or get hit with demand charges for using too much power at once. It really changes the game for fleet managers. It's less about buying fuel, more about complex energy management.
So you need different skills, different tools.
Exactly. Like Baya's approach, shifting charging to cheaper off-peak hours, smoothing out the load, that's where the real savings are.
And it's not just individual fleets figuring this out. Cities are getting involved too.
Definitely. Wiley Strahan's analysis of LA's budget was telling. A huge transport budget, $4.8 billion. But within that, $51 million specifically for transport electrification.
$51 million. That's serious.
It is. And it's practical stuff, too, like buying their first electric street sweeper. It shows cities see sustainability now as, well, also about operational efficiency. It's pragmatic.
Right. Which brings us to the infrastructure piece. We always talk about needing more chargers, but what does that really mean for commercial fleets?
It's more than just putting plugs in the ground. Vimlender Pandey really emphasized the role of CPOs, charge point operators. They're critical enablers.
Enablers how?
They need to guarantee reliability, uptime, which is crucial for fleets, offer transparent economics like smart tariffs, especially in the EU, so you know what you're paying, and build scalable infrastructure, particularly that fast charging along corridors in the US. Without strong CPOs, scaling up is tough.
Makes sense. So are we seeing collaborations emerging to tackle these charging hurdles?
We are. Jason Walter posted about Prologis Mobility and EV Realty working together in California. They're aiming for a unified network, a single interface for freight fleet charging. That's exactly what's needed to simplify things.
Okay, streamlining the process.
Yeah, and another one, Lincoln Harmer shared Kiloby Engineering working with Tower Mobility. They're using analytics to drive charging optimization, showing real potential savings. It highlights that collaboration is key here.
But even with these efforts, there are still roadblocks, particularly around policy.
Oh, absolutely. That came through clearly. John Sawalski and Nathan Rhodes pointed this out. Fragmented or just inadequate policies are slowing things down, especially outside the big cities.
Like what specifically?
A big one is the lack of clear rules for charging take-home EVs. That's a real practical headache for fleets and drivers. How do you manage cost, reimbursement? It's a gap. Consistent policy is needed.
Seems like the market's reacting to fill some gaps, though. We saw some M&A activity.
We did. Jassy Palola announced Verta buying North, their goal, to create Europe's top platform for EV fleet charging and energy management. It's about offering a more integrated, scalable solution to accelerate the shift, which actually leads us perfectly into our second theme. Software, data, and AI, the brains behind modern fleets. Because managing energy, optimizing routes, handling maintenance, none of that scales without the smarts behind it. This digital layer is fundamental.
Right, the brains of the operation. And AI is definitely part of that conversation now. Sean L. called it a vital piece of fleet electrification.
He did. He mentioned collaborating with Synop, emphasizing that you can't just manage large-scale electrification manually. You need AI to orchestrate it effectively.
And data is the fuel for that AI and for better operations overall. like with maintenance.
Exactly. Jasdeep Singh drew a really sharp contrast between preventative and predictive maintenance. Predictive, using real-time sensor data breakware, engine health, crucially battery state of health, or SOH.
SOH?
Yeah. It's just far better at minimizing those unexpected breakdowns. You fix things when they need fixing, not just on a schedule. Better uptime, longer part life. That really resonates with fleet managers.
So it's not just about fixing things. It's about the whole electrification strategy being data-driven from the start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mauricio Sardi made that point strongly. Success isn't just about buying vehicles. It hinges on tailored strategies informed by data.
Right.
Meaning you need to understand your specific charging needs, choose the right battery chemistry like LFP versus NMC.
LFP being lithium iron phosphate, NMC is nickel manganese cobalt.
Right. LFP often offers better stability and cost. NMC may be higher energy density for range. You need data to decide what fits, and you can't underestimate the tech risks like battery degradation. It has to be a data-informed plan.
And collecting all that data heavily relies on telematics, which is still growing massively.
Hugely. Neil Kaz announced Geotab hitting 5 million subscriptions. 5 million. That just shows how essential telematics has become for driving efficiency, safety, sustainability. It gives you those actionable insights.
And we're seeing integrations making it easier too, like the Geotab and Daimler example.
Yeah, James McDermott shared that. Geotab certifying their ELD, the electronic logging device, with Daimler's built-in CTP3 telematics. That simplifies compliance and management, especially for fleets with trucks from different manufacturers. Using the factory hardware makes it much smoother.
And telematics itself is getting smarter, with AI built in.
For sure. John Clinton highlighted this. AI-powered telematics offers things like real-time driver behavior monitoring, predictive maintenance alerts specifically benefiting contractors, improving safety and efficiency in those specialized fields.
And other digital tools are popping up too.
Right. Eli Kogan-Wang mentioned Timus.io Cloud for secure, repeatable software updates for IoT fleet devices. And Dinesh Koka pointed to Motive's AI-powered workforce management, aiming to cut admin overhead and boost productivity. It's a broad digital push.
Okay, so shifting focus a bit, let's look at the bigger picture trends. Our third theme, market dynamics, new vehicles, and strategic deployments. What's driving the market, what new EVs are coming, and who's actually putting them on the road?
A key insight here came from Jay Klemp. He argued that TCO, not range, will decide the future of medium-duty EV adoption, total cost of ownership.
Interesting. So range gets attention, but TCO closes the deal.
That's the idea. Range might get an EV considered, but it's the savings, lower fuel and maintenance costs year after year, less downtime, potentially longer vehicle life that convinces companies like Harbinger to buy. It's a shift in how you evaluate the asset over its entire life cycle, not just the purchase price.
And are we seeing that TCO logic driving actual adoption?
Seems so. Amandine de Oliveira showed corporate fleets are the real engine for EV growth in France for 2025. They're adopting faster than private buyers.
Why is that?
Favorable tax benefits, like benefits in kind, and importantly, upcoming penalties if they don't comply with electrification mandates. So strong financial carrots and sticks.
Makes sense, but it's not always simple, especially for big companies operating everywhere.
No, definitely not. Linda Lin highlighted the real-world complexities of electrifying a multinational fleet. It might look straightforward on paper, but navigating different country regulations, infrastructure variations, it's a complex journey. Not one size fits all.
But on the vehicle front, there's progress. New options tailored for fleets.
Yeah, some exciting stuff. David Close mentioned the Kia PV5 coming to the UK. Its modular design is key adaptable for different utility uses. That flexibility is crucial for fleets.
Modular, okay. And range is improving too.
It is, particularly for smaller vans. Stephen Frost's research showed improving ranges for new small and medium electric vans in the UK. They're becoming more practical for more routes, tackling that range anxiety head on.
And these improved vehicles are getting deployed. We saw some big examples.
We did. Mike Necrani shared VEV and Stagecoach putting 110 electric buses on the road. That shows scale and cost effectiveness in public transport. And Ruby Diaz posted about Linfox in Australia celebrating EV Day with 30 electric prime movers. That's heavy duty, a significant signal.
30 electric prime movers, wow. Any other examples?
Yeah, Australia Post is piloting the Mercedes-Benz Avito van for city deliveries, according to Richard Pittard. And Pankaj Arora noted PepsiCo is still leading the charge in electric trucks, importantly, pushing for progress without just relying on subsidies. That's a strong message about viability. And looking even further ahead, Andreas Aspel's post on Aurora starting commercial autonomous trucking in Texas was fascinating. He stressed how critical precision steering systems are, not just for safety, which is obvious, but for uptime at scale in autonomous operations. It's often overlooked, but vital.
Okay, so we have technology, economics, market moves, but it all rests on policy and people, right?
Okay.
That brings us to our final theme: policy, people, and the path forward.
Exactly, because none of this happens smoothly without the right framework and without considering the human element.
Matthew Bradley really hammered this home. He said, clear policies and standards can take the gray area out of fleet management. Basically, they're essential for credible electrification. You need that roadmap.
Absolutely. And we saw examples of specific guidance trying to provide that clarity. Ryan Pritchard highlighted Lane Geiken's guide on California's HVIP program.
HVIP, the Voucher Incentive Project.
Right. It gives fleets practical steps, entry points for buying zero-emission trucks. These kinds of guides are crucial for translating policy goals into actual procurement.
But policy isn't everything if you ignore the drivers.
Right.
There was a point about cost versus comfort.
Yeah, Leanne Hansen raised a really important, often overlooked issue. Fleet managers can get hyper-focused on cost per mile, sometimes forgetting about operator comfort.
And that backfires.
It can, leading to higher driver turnover, which is expensive, plus hidden inefficiencies, things a spreadsheet might miss. It really stresses why you have to consider the driver experience. You can't just optimize the machine, you have to think about the person operating it.
So how does data fit back in here? Can it help bridge that gap?
It should. Sudh Malhotra emphasized using telematics data strategically. It's key for competitiveness. Good data helps build strong policies that aren't just based on assumptions, but reflect the reality on the ground, including the impact on drivers and the true cost of turnover. Clean, reliable data is crucial.
And that's aren't just online discussions. They're shaping industry events, too.
Definitely. Tara Spencer and Ray Miller mentioned the upcoming AFLA 2025 conference is focusing specifically on stress-free electrification. And Lubomila Jordanova noted discussions at IAA Mobility were heavily focused on decarbonization pathways and actually executing the transition. The conversation is clearly shifting from if to how.
So bringing it all together, what's the big picture takeaway from these weeks?
I think Maxim Reznichenko, echoing Roger Atkins, put it well, energy is marrying mobility. Fleet electrification is right at the heart of that. The big challenge now is getting past the hurdles, the grid limitations, the patchwork policies, the charging gaps. It's about effectively scaling the transition from pilots to mainstream deployment.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on electrification and battery technology, future mobility and market evolution, and next-gen vehicle intelligence.
Yeah, it's clear things are moving fast, but also hitting real-world complexities. For you, our listener, keep watching how all these pieces, policy, tech, data, people, converge, because overcoming those practical friction points, that's what will genuinely reshape mobility.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more critical industry insights. We'll catch you next time.